Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to study about neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are the substances or the chemicals which are released by the presynaptic neurons and acts on the receptors which are present on the surface of postsynaptic neurons. These chemical mediators then acts on the receptors and generate action potential and helps to convey the signal in the synapse. There are more than 50 chemical substances which have been proved or postulated to function as synaptic transmitters, but in our body, in our central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, there are few important neurotransmitters which are necessary to understand. We will study these neurotransmitters, and if the short notes comes on these neurotransmitters, you can write it on the basis of their synthesis, then the release of the neurotransmitters on the synaptic cleft, then their action on the receptors, that is which receptors, then the mechanism of actions of those receptors, then the degradation and reuptake of those neurotransmitters, and then the extent from where these neurons are arising containing the major neurons of these neurotransmitters, and what are the general functions of these neurotransmitters in the CNS. So on these basis you can write a short note of a single neurotransmitter. The neurotransmitters which are majorly present in our central and peripheral nervous systems are divided in two groups. The first group is called small molecule rapidly acting neurotransmitter, and the second group is neuropeptide, which are larger molecules that acts much slowly but for a prolonged way. So the small molecules neurotransmitters acts rapidly within the fraction of seconds, and their actions are for few seconds, 1 to 3 seconds, and then they gets reuptake, they gets degraded, and that is how the small molecule neurotransmitter works. One more advantage of small molecule neurotransmitters is they are synthesized in the terminal end buttons itself. The cellular mechanism of the cell body, which involves nucleus, the DNA, RNA, and the transcription, translation, and the use of Golgi apparatus is not required for the synthesis of small molecule neurotransmitters. These can be synthesized with the enzymes which are present in the terminal end buttons of the neuron itself, whereas the large molecule neurotransmitters require the machinery which are composed of the cell body, which are present in the cell body, which includes transcription, translation, and then processing of those protein, because these neuropeptides are a larger protein molecules. They require those machineries, and their production occurs in the cell body, and then they are transported to the terminal end buttons, and from there they are released in the same way, and their action takes place in a more slower but a prolonged manner. One more type of classification which can be given for the neurotransmitter is on the physiological basis. That is, either it is excitatory neurotransmitter or a inhibitory neurotransmitter, but almost most of the neurotransmitter acts on both ways. That is, some places they act as excitatory and some places they act as inhibitory. Only few neurotransmitters are there which are exclusively excitatory or exclusively inhibitory, like in case of gamma amino butyric acid is an exclusively inhibitory neurotransmitter, whereas glutamate, which is an exclusively an excitatory neurotransmitter. Apart from this, other neurotransmitters are all acting as inhibitories at some places and excitatory at some places. So this is another physiological classification of neurotransmitters. So as we were discussing that there are wide varieties of neurotransmitters in our central and peripheral nervous system, that is due to the reason that our central nervous system has a wide variety of neurons. As you can see in the diagram, there are dopaminergic neurons which are arising from substantia nigra. There are acetylcholine or cholinergic neurons which are arising from gigantocellular neurons from the reticular formation. There are the norepinephrine or the noradrenergic neurons which are arising from locus coeruleus. There are serotonergic neurons which are arising from raphe nucleus. These are the group of neurons which contains the cell body of all the neurons which secrete a single type of neurotransmitter. That means if there is raphe nucleus, these nucleus are the cell bodies of the neurons which are going to different parts of the brain and secreting the same neurotransmitter, that is serotonin. And in this case locus coeruleus, the cell bodies of the neurons which secretes norepinephrine as the neurotransmitters are located on locus coeruleus, and then from here axons goes to various part of the body, various part of the central nervous system, like to the cerebellum, to the higher brains centers, like to the cerebral cortex, to the thalamus and other areas, and where they secrete the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. So this is how various group of neurons are spread out in nucleus, and then they go out and then they send their axons to various different parts of the brain and secrete their neurotransmitters there. So that is why there are different neurotransmitters acting in our central nervous system. As you can see in this diagram also, those nucleus like locus coeruleus what we discussed, which are containing norepinephrine as their neurotransmitters, sends their axons to a wide variety of places in the brain, like hippocampus, to the neocortex, to the thalamus, to the cerebellum. And here you can see serotonergic neurons. Serotonin is then secreted all over the brain, including the cerebellum. As you can see, the dopaminergic neurons whose presence are there in the prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia, caudate nucleus and putamen, and the acetylcholine or cholinergic neurons. So these are the extent to which the centers, the nucleus, are the origin of the cell body from where axon arises and goes to various parts of the brain to supply and to these neurotransmitters to act on those other higher centers and to convey signal or to perform a function. Now coming to the classification. So the first group was the small molecule rapidly acting neurotransmitters, and the second group was neuropeptides. So under the first group comes four class of neurotransmitters: class 1, class 2, class 3 and class 4. Class 1 consists of acetylcholine. Class 2 is the amines, which contains catecholamines, norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, and then comes histamine. Then class 3 contains amino acids, that is gamma aminobutyric acid, that is GABA, glycine, glutamate, aspartate, and class 4 contains nitric oxide. So the first neurotransmitter what we are going to study is acetylcholine. What is the first, how we are going to discuss is, first we will discuss the synthesis of acetylcholine. So acetylcholine is synthesized by the help of two substances, that is choline plus acetyl coenzyme A. This choline plus acetyl coenzyme A, when the action of choline acetyl transferase under this enzyme, acetylcholine is synthesized. So acetyl coenzyme A plus choline under the presence of enzyme choline acetyl transferase give rise to acetylcholine. As you can see here, this process is taking place in the terminal button of the nerve, in the nerve ending itself. As we have already discussed, small molecules neurotransmitter does not require the machineries which are present in the cell body. These can be synthesized by the enzymes which are present in the nerve terminals itself. Then this acetylcholines enters inside the vesicles, which are then present in the nerve terminal. Second comes the release of the neurotransmitter. So as we have studied in the neuromuscular junction, the calcium influx, as the action potential or the impulse comes, as the action potential comes, this opens the voltage gated calcium channel, and as the calcium concentration increases inside, it allows the docking of the vesicles into the synaptic membrane, and from this synaptic membrane the neurotransmitter, after the fusion of these vesicles into the synaptic membrane, the neurotransmitters are released. So that is the mechanism of release of the neurotransmitter. Now coming into the receptors, as we have already studied the cholinergic receptors in autonomic nervous system, we are not going to stress much about the receptors, but there are two types of cholinergic receptors, that is the nicotinic receptors and the muscarinic receptors. These nicotinic receptors are inotropic receptors, whereas the muscarinic receptors are the metabotrophic receptors. Their mechanism of action can be either opening the ion channels or activating the second messenger system. So this is how the acetylcholine acts with the help of their receptors. Then comes the degradation and uptake. So there is an enzyme acetylcholine esterase which are present in the tissues nearby the synaptic cleft, and this enzyme acetylcholine esterase is the enzyme which then degrades acetylcholine into choline, and that choline is then reuptake into the nerve ending so that it can be utilized to form acetylcholine again in the presynaptic neuron. So this is the mechanism of the reuptake of acetylcholine. Which enzyme is helping here? Acetylcholine esterase. This enzyme is also important in the pharmacological aspects, so that inhibiting its action can prolong the action of acetylcholine on the receptors. So acetylcholine esterase degrades the acetylcholine into choline, which then gets reuptake. Hemicholin is one enzyme which can block the reuptake of choline in the presynaptic membrane. There are certain drugs which blocks the release of acetylcholine, like botulinum toxins, aminoglycosides. Those can block the release of acetylcholine. And there are certain neuromuscular junction blockers like tubercurin, saxamethonium. These are the neuromuscular junction blockers which blocks the receptors and does not allows the acetylcholine to work through the receptors. So this is the acetylcholine, and we have discussed this under the synthesis, the release, the receptors, mechanism of action of receptors, enzyme which is responsible for its degradation, reuptake. Okay, so if we have to write on acetylcholine, we have to write its mechanism of action under these headings. Then coming to its extent, so the cell body which are releasing acetylcholine, the cell body of the neurons, the cholinergic neurons in the central nervous system, lies on septal nucleus. One is the septal nucleus, second is the basal nucleus basalis, and the third is pontomesencephalotegmental complex. Okay, so there lies the cell bodies of the neurons. So here are the nucleus, and in this nucleus lies the cell body of the neurons, which gives axons that spreads throughout the central nervous system, throughout the brain. And the septal nucleus, major role of septal nucleus is to send its axons to the hippocampus, and there it plays the role in development of memory. So acetylcholine is responsible through its axons to the hippocampus. It is responsible for memory from the septal nucleus. Then the axons from the nucleus basalis goes to the neocortex. It is responsible for arousal, attention, and there are smaller interneurons also which are present in the basal ganglia, Those are cholinergic small neurons, and those are responsible for the control of fine movements. So in case of Parkinson's disease, cholinergic drugs or the drugs which inhibits acetylcholine esterase are used to relieve the symptoms of Parkinson's, because acetylcholine and cholinergic neurons, interneurons, are present in basal ganglia. Those are smaller neurons not represented here, but those are the ones which are present there and helps the fine motor movement in basal ganglia. So these are the extent and the nucleuses and the extent of the acetylcholine neurotransmitter. Now coming to the second class, that is the amines. Under that there are catecholamines. The first important catecholamine is norepinephrine. As we have studied in autonomic nervous system, norepinephrine is the major contributor in case of nerve endings, whereas if we see from the medulla, adrenal medulla, major neurotransmitter which is released is epinephrine, whereas from the nerve endings, major neurotransmitter which is released is norepinephrine. So norepinephrine is synthesized in the nerve terminal by the help of tyrosine. This tyrosine gets converted into dopa. Enzymes are mentioned here. The tyrosine hydroxylase enzyme is the rate controlling enzyme for the production of norepinephrine. So the tyrosine hydroxylase enzyme is the rate controlling enzyme, which is important to understand. Then tyrosine is converted into dopa. Dopa is converted into dopamine. Dopamine is then converted into norepinephrine, and norepinephrine is then converted into epinephrine. So this is the cycle of synthesis of norepinephrine. Now once it is synthesized, it is packed inside the vesicles. Then the mechanism of action of its release is when the nerve impulse comes, the voltage gated calcium ions opens. The voltage gated calcium ion which will be present here will be opened, and that will then allow the docking of these vesicles into the synaptic membrane, the synaptic membrane of the presynaptic neurons, and fusion will cause release of those norepinephrine neurotransmitters. One factor here is, as you can see, there is alpha 2 receptor present in the presynaptic membrane. This can modulate, either stimulate or inhibit the release of these neurotransmitters. So alpha 2 receptors modulates the rate of the release of neurotransmitter from the presynaptic membrane. It is modulating the presynaptic neuron, the release from the presynaptic membrane. Once it is released, it acts on different receptors. As we have studied already in autonomic nervous system, there are alpha receptors and beta receptors, and those are majorly the metabotrophic receptors, and these receptors then acts on the postsynaptic neurons. Then the norepinephrine can either reuptake as it is with the help of ATP. It can be reuptake as it is, and then it can be repacked into the vesicles, or can be degraded with the help of an enzyme called monoamine oxidase in mitochondria. So either repacked in the vesicles or can be degraded with the help of monoamine oxidase. Or in the tissues, there is another enzyme that is called catechol O methyltransferase, COMT, which can be one more mechanism of reuptake and destruction of norepinephrine. So this is how the norepinephrine is working: the synthesis, the release, the action, the receptors, and the destruction and reuptake takes place of norepinephrine. Now we can see the major nucleus from where the neurons are arising is locus coeruleus. The major nucleus is locus coeruleus. From here the neurons are going to thalamus. As you can see, the neurons are going to thalamus, to the neocortex, to the hippocampus, to amygdala, to the hypothalamus, and their function to the even to the spinal cord and to the cerebellum. These neurons are spreading, and their function is in cognition, in mental alertness, in arousal, and in the motivation. As you can see, the different parts there serves the different function. The memory function, the amygdala is responsible for limbic system, for motivation, for the cognition. The neocortex is responsible for cognition. The cerebellum is for the movement, the control or the regulation of movement to the spinal cord, and these are all responsible for mental alertness, cognition, arousal and motivation. So that is the general function of norepinephrine in the central nervous system. Now coming to dopamine. Dopamine, by its extent of neurons, it is also involved in control of movements, induction of vomiting, inhibition of prolactin secretion and stimulation of gonadotrophin releasing hormone, and dopamine is also involved in schizophrenia. Dopamine has three types of receptors: D1, D2 and D3 receptors. D1 receptors activate adenylyl cyclase via G protein receptors, G protein couple receptors. D2 receptors inhibits adenylyl cyclase, so there is the excitatory action of D1 receptors and inhibitory action of D2 receptors. As we were talking, that dopamine can act both either as excitatory or inhibitory, like major other neurotransmitters. Also, here is the example how they work. The D1 receptors activates adenylyl cyclase, whereas D2 receptors inhibits adenylyl cyclase. That is why D1 acts as excitatory, D2 acts as inhibitory. D3 receptors are located in nucleus accumbens. The dopamine production, we have already seen the synthesis and its metabolism will be same as the synthesis of norepinephrine. In that steps only, first comes the dopamine, that is from tyrosine comes the dopa, and from dopa comes dopamine, and its metabolism also takes place by the help of those two enzymes, monoamine oxidase and catechol O methyltransferase. So that is same, the metabolism, synthesis, metabolism, only difference is the receptors and the mechanism of actions are different. Now coming to the extent, dopamine is the dopaminergic neurons, the cell body lies in mainly two nucleus, that is the ventral tegmental area and the substantia nigra. Substantia nigra has major role on basal nucleus, the caudate and putamen of basal nucleus and nucleus accumbens, where the D3 receptors are present. In caudate and putamen, both D1 and D2 receptors are present. So it has major role in basal ganglia. Then dopamine has also some role in the limbic system, the frontal cortex and the cingulate cortex, and it has role, this supply from the ventral tegmental area has role in cognition as in case of prefrontal cortex, and in mood changes as in case of the limbic system. So dopamine, mood changes by the help of limbic system, and cognition by the help of prefrontal cortex, and control of fine motor movement, as dopamine is the major pathogenesis of Parkinson's disease. This is the one which is involved in the fine control movement in the basal ganglia, especially in the caudate and putamen. So that is the role of dopamine in our central nervous system. Now coming to serotonin, these are the different type of amines apart from catecholamines. These are synthesized from tryptophan and 5-hydroxytryptophan, which then converts into 5-hydroxytryptamine. So that is how the synthesis of 5-HT or serotonin takes place from the substrate tryptophan. Coming to the receptors of serotonin, there are several types of 5-HT receptors. Some of the 5-HT receptors, especially HT2 receptors, are excitatory, while HT1 receptors are inhibitory. So 5-HT receptors are divided into 5-HT1 receptors, which are subdivided into 1A, 1C and 1D, and these are the mechanism of action of these receptor systems. As you can see, cyclic AMP, IP3 and again cyclic AMP, which are increasing the outflow of potassium, which is an inhibitory type of movement. Then coming to 5-HT2, which works through IP3 system, and then 5-HT3, which is ligand gated ion channel. Okay, so these are the three different serotonin receptors. Serotonin has major role in pain inhibition. As you would have seen in pain mechanism, the serotonin plays major role in suppression of pain. Then it has another role in regulation of carbohydrate intake and hypothalamic releasing hormones. It has also role in hallucination and depression of mood, as these serotonin reuptake inhibitors SSRI are involved in the antidepressant drugs. So let us see the extent and the functions of serotonin. The serotonergic neurons are arising from Raphe nucleus. The Raphe nucleus which are present above supplies to the higher centers, and the Raphe nucleus which are present below supplies to the spinal cord. The main function of this spinal cord is for the pain suppression pathway, whereas the function for the upper supply from the Raphe nucleus is it is going to the cerebellum, as you can see here, to the neocortex, to the thalamus, and to the basal ganglia. So these, and also to the limbic system. So the serotonin is supplying to the cerebellum, neocortex, thalamus, and limbic system. What are the major functions? Their major function, as we have seen, it is in the mood elevation, depression, the pain suppression pathway, and in cognition, and also involves in the mental alertness and sleep mechanisms. Now coming to the amino acids neurotransmitters. Now coming to the amino acid neurotransmitters, GABA is the major neurotransmitter. Now talking about the neurotransmitters in the brain, these amino acid neurotransmitters are the major neurotransmitters. These are the major inhibitory and excitatory. GABA is the major inhibitory neurotransmitter. 50% of the inhibition in the CNS is caused by GABA, and the major excitatory neurotransmitter in the CNS is glutamate. Those neurotransmitters which we have studied earlier are also taking part, but the major part is done by GABA and glutamate in the central nervous system. So as we can see here, GABA is synthesized from the alpha ketoglutarate, which is a part of citric acid cycle. So from this citric acid cycle, from the substrate alpha ketoglutarate is synthesized glutamate, and from this glutamate is synthesized GABA. This GABA is the major inhibitory neurotransmitter in our central nervous system. There are three types of receptors, GABA receptors: GABA A, GABA B, and GABA C receptors. You can see the molecular structure of GABA receptors, which consists of three subunits: alpha, beta, gamma, and usually there are other types of GABA receptors contain different subunits. Alpha and beta are the constants. This can be changing, and as you can see here, there are GABA binding sites, there are benzodiazepine binding sites, barbiturates binding sites. These are the sedative drugs which helps to sedate, or which are used in control of convulsions. And there are also the convulsant binding sites in these GABA receptors. What is the mechanism of action of these GABA receptors? This is the ligand gated chloride channel. Once the ligand combines, the GABA binds to the receptor, it allows chloride ions to pass through them, and thus it causes inhibitory action of this GABA neurotransmitter. So this is how the GABA neurotransmitter is inhibitory, its inhibitory action takes place. These neurotransmitters are present in the cerebellum. Special thing about these neurotransmitters are these GABAergic neurons are specially small interneurons which are present in the cerebellum, in the cortex. There are some larger neurons which are present in the basal ganglia striatum, which suppresses the substantia nigra, inhibits the release of dopamine from substantia nigra. So there are small interneurons. Even in the spinal cord, even in the pain suppression pathway, you would have seen the role of GABA, and those role are played by the small interneurons in the spinal cord. So GABA is the major inhibitory neurotransmitter. Its role is by small interneurons in the central nervous system. Now coming to the major excitatory neurotransmitter, that is glutamate. It is again, the synthesis is same as GABA. As you would have seen, alpha ketoglutarate directly give rise to glutamate first, and then it give rise to GABA. So it's synthesized via the Krebs cycle, and it has receptors, NMDA receptors, AMPA receptors, and kainate receptors. These are the three receptors which are ionotropic receptors. That means they directly linked with the ion channel, and when the glutamate binds with these, they open the positive ion, they open the conductance of positive ion like calcium ion and the sodium ions. So these are excitatory in nature. Then occurs the metabotrophic receptors also of glutamate, and these are the responsible for the major excitatory output. As you can see here, these glutamate neurons are arising, their cell bodies are located in the neocortex or the cerebral cortex, and they give the pathway, the corticostriatal pathway. As you can see, the corticostriatal pathway, corticobulbar pathway, corticopontine pathway, corticothalamic pathways. As you can see here, corticothalamic pathways, and these pathways are the major, and also in case of cerebellum, these pathways are the major excitatory output from the cerebellum and from the cerebral cortex to the lower brain areas. Then coming to the special class 4 neurotransmitter is nitric oxide, responsible for long-term behavior. Though it is a small molecule, it is responsible for long-term behavior and memory. One special feature of this neurotransmitter is it is not preformed and not stored. It is synthesized immediately when the action potential comes, diffuses out. It gets stored in the vesicles, but it diffuses out of the membrane and then diffuses inside the membrane of postsynaptic neuron, and from there it modifies the metabolic functions and metabolic, especially the excitability of the neuron for second, minutes, or perhaps even longer, and that is why it is responsible for alteration of memory or the establishment of memory. Now coming to the larger molecules, that are neuropeptides. So neuropeptides are also the neurotransmitters which can be subdivided into neuroactive peptides, pituitary peptides, peptides acting on the gut and brain, and the neuropeptides from the other tissues. Okay, so these are the larger molecules. As we have discussed, these are synthesized in the cell body by the help of transcription, translation, and the processing of those protein molecules in the Golgi bodies. Then they are carried by the vesicles from the anterograde transport from the cell body to the nerve terminal, and from there they are stored in the vesicles and released, and they perform a long-term action. Your work for this video lecture is to go and read about the neuropeptide transmitters and just enumerate what are these different group of neurotransmitter, what comes under neuroactive peptides, what comes under pituitary peptides, what comes under the peptide acting on the gut and brain, and what comes under the neuropeptide from the other tissues, and just write a general function of those neuropeptides. So that's it for today's video lecture. Thank you so much for watching.